Police Commissioner Dermot Shea. So, Commissioner, good morning. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Dan.
So let me begin with the topic of Rikers Island. If we can get you to pull your microphone up a little bit because it's a little low this morning. Let me begin with this. Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency at the jail. Now Manhattan DA Cyrus Vance has issued a new directive, and this would suspend bail for suspects who meet three criteria. Let me just go through them real quick. The crime is nonviolent. The defendant doesn't have any violent offenses or sex crimes in the last 10 years, and the defendant hasn't failed to appear in the case. You, sir, have been a very strong critic of certain bail reform measures. Do you think this directive will help the situation at Rikers, and are we trading one problem for another?
Dan, I have a lot of respect for Cyrus Vance, all the DAs in New York City. I mean, I really do. I'm on record with this. I think this, it's not a debate about Rikers to me. It's really a debate about incarceration. And that pulls together all of the things that we've been seeing over the last couple of years, from bail laws to raise the age to the Rikers Island, which is no doubt a crisis right now. Does it make our job easier? Of course not. Does it put people on the streets that are going to victimize New Yorkers? Of course it does. So it's something that we're going to have to deal with. How you define those terms really is the tricky part. Listen, it should not be that complicated to house inmates that are awaiting trial.
Mm-hmm. So will the NYPD then be tasked with keeping track of those who are back out on the street because of this directive from the DA?
Well, listen, you know how we run CompStat. We keep track of every arrest we make, whether they get put into the system, released. Far too often they're released these days. So this is just one more obstacle, really, for New Yorkers.
And the NYPD, we've talked about this, has already been tasked with stepping in to help with transport of inmates to the court. And last time you said it was maybe around 100 officers that were going to have to be pulled to do this kind of task. Is that still the number, and how much overtime is involved in this?
It's not, Dan, it's not the transport, it's the intake. So if you think of when an arrest is made, most of the people, unfortunately, arrested right now don't even go to the courts, right? They're getting released on an appearance ticket. But for that few number that actually have to go see a judge, processing them until they see a judge is what we're taking over. How many is it? It's less than 100. It's over 50. It's in several boroughs. We had traditionally done Brooklyn. It's now Manhattan and the Bronx as well. Does it have a ripple effect? Of course it does, because you're taking police officers, or wherever you take an officer from, eventually ripples down to the street. I think we all know that.
And meanwhile, federal judges also issued an order demanding outside security be brought into the actual island, the jail, right, to help. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean the NYPD when we're talking about outside help? Have those discussions been had with you at all?
No, that does not mean NYPD, so that will be private security firms, as I understand.
Understood.
But Dan, if I may,
sure.
We're spending a lot of time talking about Rikers Island, which is important.
I'm moving on.
Yep, but the real crisis is on the streets of New York City. Yesterday, two 16-year-olds killed. No, and I wish we had half as many press conferences about that than we had the photo ops at Rikers Island. Mm-hmm. That's where the real crisis is.
So, you're talking about the photo op, right? And you're talking about the photo op where the mayor was and the rest of the correction staff. Have you had conversations with the mayor? Are you frustrated with the fact that those conversations aren't being had on the daily at a press conference?
Dan, I'm going to have a meeting today on reform initiatives. I think it's very important to do that.
With the mayor?
I had a meeting yesterday. Normal course of business in the PD. I had a meeting yesterday on police corruption. Very important to do that. What I'm not having calls for is meetings on 16-year-olds dying in the streets. Yesterday, in the Bronx and in Bed-Stuy, 16-year-old kids gunned down and killed. Mm-hmm. That is the real crisis in New York City. And it's directly tied to laws that have been passed in the last 2 years. So whether you're talking local level or state level, my question is simple. How many kids have to die before we fix these laws? Mm-hmm. The 16-year-old that was killed in the Bronx yesterday has a rap sheet as long as my arm. We are not helping these kids by putting them back on the streets. In fact, what we're actually doing is encouraging others to carry guns because you have to, because no one is being removed from the streets.
Yeah.
Doesn't take mass incarceration. It takes common sense, and it takes leadership and courage to say we need to fix these laws.
I was going to bring up that topic of the 16-year-old, so we're there right now. What is the latest with those cases? And I'm listening to you very carefully talk about these laws. Have you picked up the phone to talk to the mayor about this?
This is not a mayoral issue, Dan. It's not. This is, when you look at Raise the Age that took fully effect in 2019, well-intentioned. We don't want to put kids in jail. But we also look at the child, and he's a child that was killed yesterday. 16 years old. He was arrested for a gun weeks before. Months before that, he was arrested for a gun. A month before that, he was arrested for a gun. So everyone talks about, what's the deployment? How are you taking guns off the street? Again, we're taking more guns than we ever have off the street. How do you have a kid, a 16-year-old, arrested in months for 3 separate times with guns? And I'm not talking about the times he was arrested for slashing people or with a machete or with a dagger, because those are all facts too. What is going on the streets right now is the real crisis.
Yeah.
And Rikers is important.
Yeah.
But it should not be the focus of what we're talking about.
And we're talking about those shootings right there. I want to bring up a big issue that you may be facing, right? And that topic is these ideas of ghost guns. Those are the ones that are often made on those 3D printers, right? They can be bought online or assembled at home. The suspected gunman who shot 4 people outside of a club and in one used one of those. Are you seeing more of those ghost guns, and how are you dealing with getting those off the streets?
Yeah, our intelligence bureau has done a lot of work over the last couple of years. You're right. It's a combination of more, not so much on the 3D printer is what we're seeing. What we're seeing is, though, the manufactured parts that are then shipped. There's been a lot of calls by the NYPD, elected officials, stand together with them any day of the week to call for tougher legislation on this. The whole country needs to get its arms around this. We are seeing an increase in the recovery of these weapons.
And I'm almost out of time here, and I did tease this, so I want to get to this topic, and that is school safety. Because according to City Hall data, 75% of school safety officers are vaccinated, but more than 1,200 still need that vaccine shot. And if they do not get vaccinated by tomorrow, the city is obviously facing a shortage in school safety. Is there a plan, sir, to replace these officers if they're not vaccinated by the deadline?
Yeah, what we'll have to do is we'll have to be fluid and adjust to the conditions, Dan, and move resources around. It went up from the number you quoted. It's at, as of this morning, 79%.
Okay.
The entire NYPD is at 66 right now. So we're seeing it grow day by day. Hopefully by tomorrow it'll be much higher again, and we'll deal with what we have to deal with.
Understood. Commissioner Shea, a lot of serious topics here to discuss. I appreciate you always lending your voice on these issues, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks, Ken.
Thank you.